Hello, my dear students. Welcome back. So today in this lesson, we are going to deal with the mainly about the conservation of momentum. What is that? Conservation of momentum. So before discussing about the conservation of momentum, as you already know, what is the formula we are using for the linear momentum, correct? The linear momentum is equal to mass into velocity. So in vector notation, we can write here the linear momentum is equal to mass into velocity vector. This is a formula for linear momentum. Now let's discuss about what is meant by conservation of momentum. If the vector sum of all the forces acting on an isolated system, if it is equal to 0, we can say that the momentum is conserved. The momentum is conserved. So what is meant by conservation of momentum? If the vector sum of all the forces, that means many forces are acting, but the resultant force acting on the system should be equal to what? 0. Okay, so vector sum of all the forces acting on an isolated system. What is the meaning of isolated system? Isolated system means the net force acting on the system should be equal to what? 0. So in this case, the total momentum is conserved. So as we already know the formula here, P is equal to mv, that is a momentum formula. So in the conservation condition, we can write here what? The total momentum is equal to a constant. The total momentum P is equal to constant. Or we can say here, in this case, Pi is equal to Pf. That means initial momentum of the system. Okay, if the initial momentum of the system is Pi, will be equal to final momentum of the same system. When what is the condition? When there is no external force is acting on the system. That means resultant force acting on the system must be equal to what? 0. Okay. Now the same conservation of momentum we can explain or we can discuss in terms of Newton's laws. In terms of Newton's laws, we can explain the conservation of momentum with the help of Newton's second law as well as Newton's third law. Okay, so let's discuss about the derivation of conservation of momentum with the help of Newton's second law. Correct? So what is meant by Newton's second law? As you already know, Newton's second law, F is equal to ma, that is one formula, or F is equal to dp divided by dt. What is that? dp divided by dt. What is meant by dp divided by dt? Rate of change of momentum is equal to F, or the applied force is equal to rate of change of momentum. We can write in vector notation F vector is equal to dp vector divided by dt. Okay, now in this case, if the system is an isolated system, or we can say that the system is closed isolated system. Okay, any system, if it is a closed isolated system, what is the meaning closed and isolated system? Isolated means we have already discussed about that net force acting on the body must be equal to 0, or we can say that there should not be any external force acting on it. That is meaning of isolated system. So what is meant by closed meaning? Closed mean there should not be any particle enters into the system and there should not be any particle leave the system. Clear? So it is a closed isolated system. So in a closed isolated system, the resultant force is equal to 0. That means the external force acting on the body is equal to 0, right? So in this case, we can write this equation as dp vector divided by dt is equal to, instead of f, what is the value? 0. Now, as you already learned in a differential equation, that is d by dt of a constant. What is the derivative of a constant? Here the derivative is done with respect to time, but this is not the variable with respect to time, right? So derivative of a constant is equal to 0. So what is the meaning here mathematically? dp divided by dt equal to 0. That means what is p? That is p is equal to constant. P is equal to constant. This is the first proof of conservation of momentum using Newton's second law. Using Newton's second law. Okay. So what we discussed here? What is the conservation of momentum? Vector sum of all the forces acting on the system is 0. Then the momentum is a constant value. So we have discussed with the Newton's second law. Now let's discuss about the conservation of momentum with the help of Newton's third law. Now let's look at this diagram here, everyone. Consider two bodies A and B having masses m1 and m2 moving with velocities u1 and u2. So m1 is moving with u1 and m2 is moving with u2. Now we are imagining that the velocity of mass m1 is greater than the velocity of mass m2. So what will happen here? u1 is greater than u2. Definitely the first body will go and hit on the second body. So that is the second diagram is shown here. The m1 and m2 now collide each other. Okay, it will collide each other. So in a fraction of second, the diagram is shown here, they are colliding each other. When they are colliding, according to Newton's third law, for every action there is equal and opposite reaction, right? So according to Newton's third law, the two forces are acting in opposite direction. So the forces are marked here FBA and FAB. What is FBA? FBA means force acting on B due to A, because this is colliding, right? FAB, what is meant by FAB? Force acting on A due to B, because they are once again colliding. So according to Newton's third law, we can write this equation as FBA, it's a vector quantity. FBA is equal to FAB, force acting on B due to A will be equal to force acting on A due to B, and definitely both are in opposite direction. We can put one minus sign here. After that, what will happen though? After this fraction of second, the two bodies will now move with different velocities, and that is shown in the third diagram. That is, m1 is moving with another velocity, say it as v1, and m2 is moving with another velocity, say it as v2. Okay, so this is the diagram we are talking about, and we are now going to discuss about the conservation of momentum with the help of Newton's third law. So, what is the momentum? So we are now going to discuss about what is the momentum before collision. Okay, so what is the momentum before collision? Let's see what is the momentum before collision. Before collision, the momentum of the mass m1 is m1 u1, correct? Now the momentum of second body m2 before collision is m2 into u2, because the momentum is equal to mass into velocity, right? If so, what is the total momentum before collision? Before collision, what is the total momentum? We can write here m1 u1 plus m2 u2. m1 u1 plus m2 u2, that is the initial momentum before collision. If so, what is the momentum after collision? So we can write here after collision. See this one. What is the momentum of the first body after collision? That is equal to m1 into v1. What is the momentum of the second body after collision? We can write here m2 into v2. So what is the total momentum of the system? Here in this case, system. What is in the system? The together, two bodies together, that is called what? System. So we can write here after collision, it becomes what? m1 v1 plus m2 into v2. m1 v1 plus m2 into v2, that is the final momentum. Now you please apply the Newton's third law. What is Newton's third law? FBA is equal to minus of FAB. Okay, so here comes this another term called impulse. You may be learned, that is impulse or impulsive force. What is meant by impulse or impulsive force? For simple example, while you are kicking a football, with your leg, the kicking time is too small, but you are applying a large force on that ball, correct? So a large force acting on a body in a very small time interval, and that is marked here what? Impulse, and impulse is equal to force into a very small time interval delta t. Okay, so force into delta t is called what? Impulse. Now you see this one, this diagram, during the collision, the time interval is too small. We say it as the time of collision is t, a small t. Okay. Or we can also write what is delta t, a very small time. If you multiply this equation with delta t, we can write this equation as FBA, okay, into delta t is equal to minus of FAB into delta t. Okay, So we are multiplying with the delta t because the time interval of collision on both bodies same only, right? Okay. Now you see this equation, F into delta t is equal to impulse, right? So what is this formula represents? Impulsive force acting on B. Impulsive force acting on B, and that is written here about FBA into delta t. If so, what is FAB delta t? That is an impulsive force on A. That is impulsive force acting on A, or we can simply say it as what? Impulse on A. That is called what? FAB into delta t. Now we have one more formula is the related to impulse. That is impulse is equal to impulse as well as impulsive force. Okay, impulse is equal to change in momentum. Impulse is equal to change in momentum. This is another formula we are using for impulse. So once again, what is impulse? A large force acting on a body in a very small time interval. So impulse, we have discussed two formula. One is force into delta t, other one is change in momentum, is also same as what? Impulse or impulsive force. So in this case, what is FBA delta t? That is a impulse on B, right? So we can write here impulse is equal to change in momentum. So we can write here what? Change in momentum of B. Change in momentum of B. See this one, this is a B. So what is the change in momentum in? Final momentum minus initial momentum. Which particle? B, right? So we can write here in this case M, B means second particle, right? So M2 into V2 minus, right? What is the initial momentum of M2? That is equal to M2 into U2. Okay, is equal to, what is the next side? What is the next part of this one? FAB into delta t. What is FAB into delta t? Impulsive force acting on A or impulse on A. So impulse on A means what? That is equal to change in momentum, right? So change in momentum of A. So what is the change in momentum of A? Final momentum minus initial momentum of which particle? A. A means what? M1. So we can write here M1 V1 minus, next one, M1 U1. M1 V1 minus M1 U1. But here one minus sign is there. So we have to put that minus sign here. Now you just rearrange this equation and let's see what is the equation you are getting. That is, same formula we can write here. M2 V2 minus M2 U2 is equal to, if you take the minus sign inside, we can write here minus M1 V1 minus into minus plus M1 U1. We can write this equation as M1 U1 plus M2 U2 is equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2. So what we have concluded here? M1 U1 plus M2 U2 mean that is the total momentum before collision, right? M1 V1 plus M2 V2. See this one, M1 V1 plus M2 V2, that is the momentum after collision, right? So what we have proved here, momentum before collision is equal to momentum after collision. So P initial is equal to what? P final. So what is the conclusion? According to Newton's third law, the total momentum before collision is equal to the total momentum after collision. So in this case, we can prove here what? Conservation of momentum. The law of conservation of momentum. Now let's discuss about some application of conservation of momentum. Okay, application of conservation of momentum. First we will discuss about the recoil of a gun. Okay, so let me draw a gun here. Symbol diagram. Consider a gun here. Now this gun is now at rest. So someone is now apply the trigger. Okay, what will happen? The bullet will now come out with a velocity. The bullet will come with a velocity. Say it as the mass m. Small m is the mass of the bullet and capital letter M is the mass of the gun. Bullet will move with a velocity, say it as small v. When you are firing with a gun, what will happen there? When you are firing with a gun, what will happen there? Bullet will move forward and the gun little bit move backward, right? So the bullet will move forward and that is velocity is given the small v, and the gun is moving backward and say it as the capital letter V. So these two are what? velocity, that is vector quantity. That's why when a person is firing with a gun, mainly we have seen in the shooting competition, right? They will be keeping the gun on the shoulder. If they are not keeping on the shoulder, what will happen when they're triggering? The gun will come and hit on the body. So that may cause what? Injury. Okay. So this is an example for conservation of momentum. There is no external force is acting. If you consider this is a system, that is bullet and gun. So in this case, if there is no external force is acting, we can say that the momentum is conserved. Momentum is conserved. If the momentum is conserved, we have already learned the formula. Initial momentum is equal to final momentum. Initial momentum is equal to final momentum. That means momentum before firing must be equal to momentum after firing. So what is the momentum before firing? Before firing both were at rest, no? So initial momentum before firing is equal to 0. So what is the momentum after firing? After firing, bullet is having a momentum and gun is also having a momentum. What is the momentum of bullet? That is m into v. What is the momentum of the gun? M into v, right? So we can write here m into v plus capital letter M into capital letter V. This is the momentum after firing. If so, we can write here momentum before is 0 and momentum after is equal to what? mv plus mv. We can write this equation as mv is equal to minus of m into v. mv is equal to minus of mv. So we can write here capital letter V vector is equal to minus m divided by capital letter M into V. You see this equation here, that is capital letter V represents what? Velocity of the gun which is moving backward. So this velocity is called what? Recoil velocity. So recoil velocity V is equal to minus sign represents what? Direction, opposite. Minus m divided by m. Small m represents mass of the bullet and capital letter M represents what? Mass of the gun into small v. Small v means what? The velocity of the bullet. So this is an example for the application of what? Conservation of momentum. So here also the law of conservation of momentum is applied. Another example is the explosion of a bomb. Okay, just consider a bomb here. Consider a bomb. Bomb will explode with the help of internal forces, not the external forces. In the conservation of momentum, we are not considering the internal forces, only external forces. So when the bomb is now going to explode, there is no external force is acting. So you just imagine this bomb is now exploded and it is divided into maybe 5 fragments. Okay, simply drawing it as 5 fragments. Each fragment is moving with a velocity in different directions. Say it as this is the directions we are marking it as. Okay, so each fragment is having masses. Each fragment is having mass. Say that this is m1, this is m2, and this is m3, and this is m4, and this is m5. Okay, this is m5. And moving with the velocity v1, v2, v3, and v4, and then once again v5. So what is happening here? A bomb is exploding and the fragments are there. We have only, for example, we have taken the 5 fragments having masses m1, m2, m3, m4, m5, having velocity v1, v2, v3, v4, v5 are moving in different direction. So before it explode, what is the initial momentum? We can write the initial momentum before explosion is equal to 0. What is the momentum after explosion? That is final momentum. We can write here m1 v1 plus m2 v2 plus m3 v3 plus m4 v4 plus m5 v5. This is the momentum after explosion. And here you can see here there is no external force is acting. So initial momentum must be equal to what? Final momentum. So Pi must be equal to what? Pf. Initial momentum and final momentum should be equal. So you can write this equation as 0 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2 plus m3 v3 plus m4 v4 plus m5 v5. That means we can write here 0 is equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus P4 plus P5, the momentum of each particle, which is equal to 0. Here also we can consider about the conservation of momentum. Conservation of momentum. If you want to explain with the vector notation, just use the vector addition method. So if I am drawing without changing the direction, say it as this is V1, okay? V1 without changing the direction, I mark it as V1. And you can keep here V2, say without changing the direction, I am marking it as V2, okay? Head to tail method, this is a V2. Next one is V3, without changing the direction, I am marking it as V3, okay? This is the V3. Again, next one is V4, without changing the direction, I am shifting here, this is V4. The last one is V5. You see this one, it is coming and reaching in the same point here. That means here, this is V3 and this is V4 and this is now V5. That means we can see here, this is representing not only velocity component, this is representing what? Momenta vectors. The momentum vector, right? So say it as this is P1 and say it as this is P2 vector and this as P3 vector and here this is the P4 vector, right? And here it is what? P5 vector. So which I have shown here the momenta vectors, not only the velocity vectors, momenta vectors. If you consider this as a momenta vectors, what is the sum of these momenta vectors, which is equal to 0? That is, sum of all these 5 momenta vectors is equal to 0. That means what we are proving here, the initial momentum which is equal to final momentum, where initial momentum is 0, so definitely final momentum also must be equal to what? 0. Now if you consider a bomb once again, okay, a bomb, if it is exploded and it is divided into 2 fragments, okay, 2 fragments, what is the initial momentum before? 0. So in order to make it the final momentum also must be 0, what should be the direction of momenta? The direction of momenta of both these fragments must be what? Equal and opposite. The momenta vectors must be equal and opposite. So what will happen here? It will cancel each other. Okay, so these are the few examples related to the conservation of momentum. Conservation of momentum. There are many examples are there which obey the laws of conservation of momentum. For example, rocket and jet. So jet plane as well as the rocket are working, or the working principle is what? The law of conservation of momentum. So what all things we have discussed today? We have mainly discussed about the conservation of momentum. The law of conservation of momentum. So we have discussed the conservation of momentum using Newton's second law and Newton's third law. I hope you understood this topic. Thank you all of you.